All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardinellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
Best comment of our last video was somebody said, am I the only person that says, hey, everybody, whenever Cody says, hey, everybody? Like Pavlov's dogs, we have trained some of our fan base to say, hey, everybody. It's hilarious. Anyway.
You're too kind. I really appreciate it, guys. You're too kind.
Yeah, so looking back at 2019, we actually, similar to the Oscars, thought we'd have a moment where we kindly reflect upon those candidates that we have lost in the 2020 race for the presidency. And we're actually really impressed in talking over our coverage this year at how many people Andrew Yang has outlasted, outperformed, outraised, out everything. And we thought we'd really quickly highlight that in memoriam. Cody, tell us what's going on.
All right, yeah. So the thing that kind of got me thinking about this was I was reading an article posted in the New York Times about campaign fundraising for quarter four. And this is a little paragraph I thought was interesting. So it says, besides the race's four polling leaders, Andrew Yang, the businessman who has surprised political observers with his staying power and devoted online following, he affectionately calls the Yang Gang, is expected to be the only other contender to crack 10 million raised in the fourth quarter. Other contender being not the top four of Buttigieg, Warren, Sanders, and Biden. And they go on to read a quote from his spokesperson, S.Y. Lee, and they get into this. But what had me kind of thinking about that, and here's a tweet that kind of further breaks down. So Bernie's at 26 million, Biden's at 21 million, up from quarter three. See Warren down, but Yang is kind of in the big boys club when it comes to money now. So like I was thinking, the card pointed out, who are the people who didn't make it into the big boys club for money at the end of 2020? So Here is an article from Politico ranking the 2019 presidential dropouts. Now the thing is, remember, every one of these people, Andrew Yang is outlasted. So I thought we'd go through, look through them, talk through them, and just take a moment to kind of reflect a little bit on the fact that Andrew Yang is right now being talked about as one of the top fundraisers going into quarter four. Every single one of these people was projected to beat him going back to the beginning of the cycle. Every single one of these people was projected to outlast Andrew Yang, which I think is crazy when you get through it. So we're going to go to number 10. And also, let us know in the comments what you think of Politico's ranking here of their candidates. I haven't done enough deep digging. I guarantee you I could find some weird Beto article from in Politico. Like, Beto O'Rourke might be the next Obama. I don't think it was them that said he might be the next Obama. But here we go. Number 10, the next Obama, Beto O'Rourke. Yeah. After 2018 midterm elections, Beto O'Rourke became the most...
Buttigieg.
Yeah, no.
Buttigieg was hailed as the next Obama.
Well, after the Beto experiment, doesn't it?
Okay.
Beto became the most popular loser of a Senate race since Abraham Lincoln in 1850. Abraham Lincoln and Beto work in the same sentence. Like I said, I always like to make this joke, but all the way in the far distant future of 7 months ago, this is how Beto O'Rourke was portrayed to people. Some warned him not to believe his own hype, really, but he barreled into the presidential race very much on his own terms. The quirk seemed endearing when he was running for the Senate, suddenly looked sophomoric for a potential commander-in-chief, blogging about road trips, jumping on tables, and live streaming dental work. I remember the Beto dentist live stream
and thought it was garbage.
I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't care. Okay. That was weird, right? I'll defend him on that.
I actually thought it was cooler if I didn't have to see into his mouth. For me, the fact that his mouth was open and salivating was like, it's like watching politicians eat. I don't want to watch you eat.
Well, that's the larger thing. I was less offended and more confused, right?
Yeah.
It was just like,
did I just see all the way into your tonsils?
Yeah, it's like, why is he doing this? I don't understand why he's doing this. But so anyway, I go through a couple more things. His pre-announcement declaration to Vanity Fair, man, I'm just born to be it. It being president was particularly ill-timed as Democrats swelled with excitement over their historically divorced field. O'Rourke was no longer considered a woke hero, but just another entitled white man. He would soon be boxed out by Pete Buttigieg, who became the field's youngest, freshest face. Yes. I don't think we have to get too much further into the O'Rourke stuff because that's basically all of it. They mentioned his last gasp Hail Mary. I'm sure the Democrat Party is going to love having a quote of someone in the debate saying, yes, we're going to take your AR-15s. That people are going to be using that quote.
It wasn't just yes, it was hell yes.
Yes.
I mean, that's even more emphatic. Yeah. If you say hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, then there ain't no going back from that, dude.
No, that's what I mean. So it's definitely a nice parting gift for the Democratic Party is that soundbite for Republicans to play for the next 10 years. Thank you, Beto O'Rourke. I love how he barrels into the race with nothing, just takes nothing, and then on the way out, I'll throw this bone to people anyway. So any chance O'Rourke could run it competitively in Texas, an increasingly purple but culturally conservative state, seems to be gone. By running for president, O'Rourke incinerated his future in electoral politics. That's why some of these people drop out early, because they realize you stay in too long, you just embarrass yourself and you're untouchable. Anyway, moving forward. Number 9. Card. Number 9. Who is it? Want to read this one?
Oh, my boy,
Billy
my
Bud Blasio.
fellow 6'6"er, New York.
He's in the 6'5" club, I see.
It's about all we got in common. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio's 4-month fizzle of a presidential campaign was the final humiliation in a years-long quest to anoint himself.
I forgot it was only 4 months.
Yeah, as a national leader of the progressive movement. Dude, and you know what? He really was one where you could tell. Like, he could not hide the grift.
Well, nobody liked him ever. Like I said, the funny thing was if you looked at Republican favorability polls, Republicans always had Bill de Blasio in the middle. They didn't think much of him. Democrat favorability, de Blasio was very bottom every single time.
Yeah.
Like, they knew who he was and they did not like him. Whereas I thought it was really funny. It was like, if he ran as a Republican, he probably would have got more votes.
Yeah.
Or you would have polled higher, so I would have polled higher.
Yeah, so de Blasio's favorability rating among city voters dropped 11 percentage points in those 4 months over the course of his electoral run. That is brutal. He was one of those guys where you could just tell, though, that he really wanted power and he was willing to say anything in order to get it. And he, like, when somebody who's not tough tries to act tough, it's actually kind of cute. And you're almost rooting for him. It's like, oh, look at this little guy trying to be tough. You know what I'm saying? And you almost want to root for him. It's like when Pete Buttigieg gets his angry face on. It's like, oh, the chipmunk's angry. You know what I'm saying? And you almost want to pat him on the head and help your little brother out, you know? But when you've got like the big goon, the big socialist enforcer goon trying to be likable, that's the exact opposite. You know, it's when the little guy wants to be big, that's cute. But when the big guy wants to be little, it's like, no, just shut up and get out of here.
How about this? How about the allegations? To add insult to injury, New York City's Department of Investigation is looking into the taxpayer cost of de Blasio's use of city police officers for security during his time on the presidential campaign trail, which may have cost more than $1 million. Those 4 months would have been better spent filling potholes. But I do want to get back to 4 months, dude. That's
bad.
Imagine how long was Beto in for 6? And it
that's
just
a
basically
trimester,
ended his
man.
career. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, get down next up.
Hit the next one.
I like how like I was talking about before. You'll notice as we get to the middle of this list, it's people that there's just very little opinion on. So you'll note, like for example, this Tim Ryan piece is just actually an attack on Tulsi Gabbard. So it says if Rep Tulsi Gabbard had dropped out by now, she would have been very low on this list. Wow, I wonder what they stand. Her bizarre campaign so solid her standing in Hawaii's 2nd congressional district that she attracted a strong primary challenger, prompting her to declare she wouldn't even try to run for re-election. By the way, I just want to point out, this has nothing to do with Tim Ryan, so.
That was just a dig.
A little shot with the quick.
Yeah.
Anyway, at least Tim Ryan hasn't already lost his seat representing Ohio's 13th, but the odds have increased that he could. Unlike another one of those people, I got to admit, shout out to Tim Ryan, he did run for president. Former state legislator Christian Hagan, after a forgettable, slightly odd presidential campaign, that yoga vote never showed up, Ryan has nearly depleted his campaign bank account. As of the end of his third quarter, he only had $41,000 on hand. Holy, and at least, money on hand, right? He has time to replenish his funds after his blue-collar district still has a strong Democrat lean. Hillary beat Donald Trump by 7 points, though Barack Obama beat Mitt Romney by 27. Good old Hillary, man. But all Ryan's presidential bid did was make him easier to beat.
Okay.
Gotta admit, that is the most I've thought about Tim Ryan in quite some time. I remember seeing his pictures, and they were kind of weird.
Moulton.
Another person. Well, this one will go quickly. Seth Moulton's campaign was so pathetic, he never got a turn on the debate stage before dropping out in the summer. Ouch! Wow, they there. Not.
We don't even. We can just go straight to my favorite.
Is it even a good thing that Yang outlasted this guy? Right? Is it even like maybe we won't mention that Seth Moulton was out, especially because I think it's a bigger deal that Andrew Yang outlasted someone like because even though Beto was a joke, he still had more media support than Yang did. Tim Ryan was actually a rep. Anyway. We get to a fun one, which is Mrs. Kirsten Gillibrand. Hey, you read this one if you want.
Kirsten Gillibrand she constantly reminds me of the hot all-American chick in college that took gender studies and started feeling guilty for just getting what she wanted because she was hot and having, the young goofy kids help her with their homework and like all of a sudden starts going on these wild progressive binges to try and just, shed the guilt that has been imposed upon her by her collegiate education. That's what Kirsten Gillibrand reminds me of. Those girls that you'd meet in college.
I gotta admit, I've never thought that much about Kirsten Gillibrand.
Oh, her whole
this is my
demeanor,
opinion.
dog.
This is my opinion of Kirsten Gillibrand right here. This was one of her campaign ads. This is my opinion of Kirsten Gillibrand. This is how she wanted to run for president.
If
Kirsten makes this shot. By the way, it's beer pong. Those of you that aren't watching or can't see because of the annoying graphics in front of the screen. She made it. Donate $1 to my campaign so I can make it to the debate stage. That's all I'm thinking of Kirsten Gillibrand. She was the beer pong candidate. So if you wanted beer pong in the White House, Gillibrand would have been the girl for you. That's as much as I thought about her. No offense to Kirsten Gillibrand, just that was a bizarre ad that came across my Twitter feed one day, and I remembered that one. I'm like, is she really? Now they mentioned in the article it was water, but it's like, what's the point? Why are you playing water pong then? That's even weirder. Like, why would you? I don't know. That's still
wait. So it was Jimmy Carter that put solar panels on the White House, and then I think Reagan took them down, right? And then it was Hillary Clinton that put a nice. She leveled like a bunch of rose bushes to put in statues, and then George Bush took them down and put a baseball field. You know what I'm saying? He put in a baseball field. So if Gillibrand would have made it to the White House, she would have just leveled the baseball field and put up a bunch of beer pong tables.
Yeah. I was gonna say they would have put more kegs in the White House, but there's probably already so many kegs in the White House. So.
And Xanax, because don't forget. Yeah.
Well, hey,
the keg is just to wash down the pills.
All we're gonna say is that these people have stressful lives. I'm sure, and they go to their doctors, they treat them accordingly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I guess.
By the way, they're non-Obamacare doctors because they're exempt from Obamacare.
Oh my God. The endless holy war against Obamacare. It's even rated into it. Anyway.
I am but a sword-yielding crusader.
Let's move on to Steve Bullock. Montana Governor Steve Bullock. Governor, that's a big position, man. Failed to exploit his unique status as the only red state governor of the Democratic primary field. He might have failed to exploit it. He'd not failed to bring it up. I remember Steve Bullock now. Steve Bullock was the guy who every time he was in front of my face said, I'm the only Democrat who's the governor of a Republican state. He never actually explained what that means. Also, no offense, but it is Montana. I think it's not possible to be a Republican governor of California. It's probably not possible to be a Democratic governor of whatever the deepest red state is.
Yeah.
Montana, man, I wonder how red Montana can really, how many people, no offense, I don't know, live in Montana. Like, I think
it's like 800,000 people.
It is a state that I think is populationally small enough where you could see that overwhelmingly Republican, but vote for a Democrat governor for various reasons, right? Like, also he's pretty moderate. So the Montana governor is term limited and cannot run for re-election, and he has steadfastly refused to entertain jumping into the Senate race against incumbent Republican Steve Daines. But Democratic Party leaders recognize that he remains the most popular Democrat in Montana, are still pursuing him and hoping he will reconsider. Interesting. So shout out Steve Bullock doesn't want to be senator, but probably could. Okay.
Wow, interesting. Okay. Well, also, dude, this author can't help
hold
herself.
on. This is an interesting thing though right here. I didn't notice this. Is it if the Democratic presidential nominee is not a white man, no one should be surprised if Bullock gets vetted for the vice presidential slot. So I guess these literal politicos writing a Politico, these insiders, we are talking about surprise VP candidates. I guess according to this author, Steve Bullock behind the scenes is like,
look at this,
don't sleep on Bullock as a candidate. Interesting.
You could tell this person's a Bernie supporter because there's like still. It was a quiet failure that did not ruin his future back home. Like these zingers, man. This is not like the Oscars in memoriam where there's nothing but respect and our hats are off.
Because
this person is stamping on the grave.
Thankfully, all these people are still with us, right? I think that's the reason why. I think we're still with us. Moving on, Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell is probably best known now for Fartgate. 39-year-old California congressman concluded that after just 3 months on the presidential campaign trail, he would not be 2020's millennial candidate. In Swalwell's lone debate, his demand that Joe Biden pass the torch was flicked away by the frontrunner, so he astutely decided to go back home and keep his congressional seat. I will give him that. He survived Fartgate and a failed presidential run, and he's probably going to stay as the congressman, so good for him, man. Freed up Swalwell as a member of the House Intelligence and Judiciary Committee to immerse himself in the impeachment inquiry and maintain a steady stream of related TV appearances. He has repeatedly driven Trump to rage on Twitter by regularly appearing on Fox News and articulating the case. I mean, I will agree. The brand of Swalwell's done pretty well. You know what I mean? Especially considering how bad the run went. The brand of Swalwell's still strong. He's
hateful guy, man.
John Hickenlooper, the undisciplined former. That's such a weird way to describe someone as an undisciplined former Colorado governor. Had one of the more hapless presidential bids of the year. It's just undisciplined is such a weird way to describe a candidate to me. He mused at a CNN town hall. How come we're not asking more often? The woman, would you be willing to put a man on the ticket? So that's a weird question. And came across as dismissed. It's just because it's like, well, historically, presidents have only been men and women voted for them. So I guess that would be the implicit answer, right? That they don't care. He also shared uncomfortable anecdote that about the time he took his mother to see the porno. I remember John Hickenlooper now. Yeah, he was the guy who did that.
He was the guy that did that. And it was like, oh.
I love it.
Didn't he say it was his mother-in-law? I don't think he said it was his mother. I thought he said it was his mother-in-law.
Either
but
way,
anyway,
right? Either he was that guy. And then after repeated denials, he had run for Senate. Hickenlooper swallowed his pride and switched races in August. Oh, he's a liar too. Now he's the overwhelming favorite to win. Hey, this is going to win. In an October poll, he led Republican incumbent Cory Gardner by 11 points. That is ridiculous. This guy's weird, failed, I love undisciplined as a descriptor, presidential run led to him possibly getting. So, hey, another one of those questions. People ask, why are people running for president?
It was the deep esophageal story.
Yeah, but same thing is, why would John Hickenlooper run for president? Well, it looks like now he's going to be a senator. So maybe that's why he ran for president, right?
Oh, dude, Jay Inslee.
Inslee. I'll pull up. Actually, you read this for a second. I'm going to pull up.
If there's one presidential dropout whose campaign was all upside, it's Washington. Oh, now I can't see it, bro, because it's not on my screen.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, brutal. Anyway, it is. Now I can't see it, dog, because it's not on my screen.
I'll read it. I apologize. Okay. So anyway, if there's one presidential dropout whose campaign was all upside, it's Washington Governor Jay Inslee, who ran as a climate change prophet. Inslee turned himself into a respected expert who can bestow green credibility in anyone he endorses. At the same time, his support at home is rock solid, and he's expected to coast into a third gubernatorial term next year. And if a Democrat is in the White House in 2021, don't be surprised if Inslee is tapped to run the Environmental Protection Agency or the Energy Department. I guess, yeah, he's definitely boosted his profile. Here, the thing is that I really want to
the thing I liked about him is he didn't come across as a total a-hole either.
I agree that
Jay Inslee actually seemed like, I mean, it's like, I love split government because it divides the power and you don't get single party rule. But you obviously want your party in power. That's the human in-group bias that we all generally have. But he's like one of those guys where it's like, okay, if somebody else had to win, hopefully it's a rational person like Jay Inslee. You know what I'm saying? He seemed relatively
I want to show you guys something.
On occasion.
I looked up Jay Inslee online for something a little while ago, and this is the picture he took a couple years ago, right?
Okay.
And I remember seeing this picture.
That's not what he looks like.
Exactly. I was like, is that even Jay Inslee?
That looks like his Is
it some other guy? Because here we go.
Looks like his younger brother that sells cars.
Yeah, for anyone who remembers what Jay Inslee looks like, this is what he has posted on his Wikipedia page, by the way. This is what Jay Inslee looks like now.
Yeah.
Whoever was the image consultant for Jay Inslee, whoever that team was, they deserve a raise. This guy has a look. He's kind of got the. I mean, he's a little.
He's like the hipster art center.
What was the guy? Was it Johnny Quest? You know, like the one that everyone says Mike, the cartoon character everyone calls Mike Pence, like Johnny Quest's dad or something. Yeah. With the white hair and the rimmed glasses. Uh-huh. I'm just saying. So that's my opinion about Jay Inslee. He definitely rehabbed his image. Yeah. He looks way better now. And I do like the idea of he actually has something to hang his hat on. He's a climate change guy. Anyway, the number one person Andrew Yang has defeated over his 2019 would be Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris's 2019 was rough. She undercut her persona as a steely interrogator with a series of inconsistent debate performances and wobbly stances on issues. Yes, she never came across as a, wow, that's a stern person. Yet at the same time, Harris became a national figure in 2019, worthy of a killer SNL impression by Maya Rudolph. Whenever they're talking about the SNL impressions of you, it's kind of a sign there wasn't a whole lot good to talk about. By bowing out of the presidential race before the voting started, Harris avoided the painful spectacle of a potential humiliating loss in Iowa, and she limited the number of enemies she made in the primary field. Are they going to omit this?
Dude, this person loves her.
I think they omit the fact that she also dropped out before appearing in the
Yeah, but look, anyway. It says, of course, as at a relatively young 55 with a few electoral threats to worry about at home. Yeah, because we have single party rule and we're gerrymandered out of our minds in California. She can choose to remain where she is in the Senate, accumulate seniority, and become a legislative maestro.
Yeah, it's almost like she shouldn't have ever ran for president in the first place because it didn't make any sense. So anyway, the beginning of the year,
this person loves Kamala.
At the beginning of the year, Harris was the winner of the rollout primary. So she ends the year of the winner of the presidential dropout primary.
Oh!
Exactly. Kamala, I was talking about every one of these people was projected to beat Andrew Yang. Kamala Harris was projected to win the ticket in perhaps the White House. So I don't know. Yeah. I think it's really cool where we sit now. Is now you look when the New York Times does their article compiling all the fundraising totals. Andrew Yang is one of the big names up there. All of those people we went through, the Jay Inslee's, the people that apparently have positions in politics lined up. Apparently, what's his name? I've already forgot his name again. Was it Hickenlooper, who could be or Bullock. One of them could be VP,
Yeah.
I guess. I never heard that before. I guess he could be VP. But now we end 2020 and Andrew Yang's still here. Andrew Yang's still raising money. Andrew Yang's probably, we'll see what the next debate because the rules, but he's going to be here to stay. All those people are gone, man. I thought that was really interesting to look back on and look at. Just all of these people that were supposed to beat Andrew Yang that didn't. The Hickenloopers, the Swalwells, the Bullocks, the Gillibrands, all these people with experience, and they maybe not Bill de Blasio, but you know what I mean? All these people, not Beto, but still, all these people with media love. Like I said, Beto was fairly uncritical. They say he was criticized. He wasn't criticized too badly for saying he was born to be president in his Vanity Fair puff piece when he announced his running. I mean, these were people that the media was looking at. I mean, the media is still mad at Kamala Harris for kind of failing them because she was the winner of their primary at the beginning of the year. So here we go. Like I said, man, there's a little, so Jay, but at the end of the year, we have people in the New York Times saying, how is Andrew Yang still in this race and how is he still raising money? Everyone else is already bowed out. It's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, man. So this was a thoroughly enjoyable experience. I do wish we had had a soundtrack to augment the nostalgia of all of these blessed and non-blessed warriors who have fallen by the wayside. 9 out of 10 of them were bad. Anyway, no. So, hey, let us know who you guys miss the most as we nostalgically look back on 2019. Make sure if you haven't had a chance yet, please like and subscribe. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter. That's where we release a lot of our updates and Cody's killer memes. This is Problem Solver Politics. We'll see you in the next video.